And I'm like, no, like, I want him out. Like, y'all can see him? He's coming out. Get whatever was wrong with me fixed, because I was getting a little nervous. I felt the blood coming out of me. Postpartum, after birth, literally is the worst. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my labor and delivery story, and I'm going to try my best to remember every single detail. It really was a blur at some points, but I'm going to go ahead and try to fill you guys in, because I know I left you hanging for a period of time in my labor and delivery vlog. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and try to fill you in on what happened that whole day. All right, so first, I'm just gonna rewind to literally days before. I thought I was having contractions like a week before, maybe like 2 weeks before. They ended up just being Braxton Hicks contractions. I would get them, they would come and they would go, and it was really like I had like a stomach ache or something, like I was cramping because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's literally what was happening. I was just running back and forth to the bathroom, going number 2 a couple times a day. And I don't know, I was trying to figure out, like, am I just nervous or like what is going on? And then I was like Googling and researching, you know, is this early signs of labor and things like that. And a couple people said it was, a couple people said no, you're just nervous. So I didn't know what was going on. But anyways, I had 2 appointments before the actual day that I gave birth, and I told her what was happening. She was like, your body's preparing for labor. So I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, then we get to July 3rd, which was my due date. And I mean, I was having little like pains here and there, but nothing concerning, nothing that made me think that I was in labor or anything like that. I went fishing, all of that. I was still active. I enjoyed my 4th of July, all of that. Like, it was completely fine. So then on July 5th, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I didn't want to concern my boyfriend because I didn't know if it was the real thing, but I was having contractions and they were a little more intense than kind of a bellyache that I was having before, but still nothing that I thought I should worry about. I went and got in the bath. I was kind of just relaxing and chilling in there. Went back and got in the bed, and I was still having like it was still keeping me up. I couldn't sleep. So then I called my midwife and told her what was going on, and she was like, it sounds like they're still irregular. Just try to go back to sleep. And I asked her, could I take a Benadryl, because I know they had told me that they give people Benadryl to help them sleep, you know, give them a little bit of sleep, because you don't want to be up and tired and not able to really get through labor because you're so exhausted. So I took a Benadryl, I laid there and couldn't fall back to sleep. So I'm just like, by this time it's like maybe like 7, 8 a.m. and I'm just like, oh my God, like I've been up since 3. But yeah, they started to die down. I got them every now and then. I'm taking 1 contraction at a time. Like I said, it's not super intense to where I can't get through it. So I just kept getting in and out the bath that whole entire day. I wasn't able to, I was trying to sleep like when I could, like, so I would lay there, rest my eyes. If I get another contraction, deal with it, lay there, rest my eyes. I also got on the ball. I got on there and kind of like just maneuvered my hips around and bounced a little bit. And it just was better in that position that I was sitting in, to give me a little relief during the contractions. It made them not so intense. When I was laying or when I was sitting down, they were really intense. So I was leaning over the bed like for like maybe like 2 hours. I tried to work, all of that. So I was leaning over the bed. Lindell told me I needed to eat, so I'm like, okay, get me peanut butter crackers. That's the best. That's all I wanted. Peanut butter crackers and just get me a water. So I ate I ate all of the crackers he bought me, and then you know, kind of just labored throughout the day. Like, it was a long day, and let me tell you, it was a long day. I was up from 3 a.m. till he was born, and then after that until like 9 a.m. the next day. So it was, yes, it was a long day. But yes, I labored, and he was working, so he would come and check on me, and I would just be in there, you know, just getting my mind right. I needed to get my mind right. I was about to have a natural birth, so I needed to get my mind right. I kept in touch with my midwife. She's like, yeah, they're still irregular, blah, blah, blah. And they were, but then they weren't. Like, some of them were, but some of them weren't. And it was telling me to go to the hospital. It kept telling me on the app that I downloaded, go to the hospital. So I would tell her when it said that, like, it's telling me to go to the hospital. But I know that you want to labor at home as much as possible, for the new mothers, if you don't know. I just want to tell you kind of what the contractions feels like. I know this video might be all over the place. I'm trying to go, but let me just put that in there real quick. Contractions feel like intense period cramps, and they come and they go, so it's not constant. And that's what I kept telling myself. It's temporary. Like, it'll last for a minute, it'll last for 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, well, 3 minutes, but like the pain isn't like there that whole 3 minutes. It's like there, you just get through it, and then, you know, your body relaxes. And you want to relax in between those contractions. I can't stress that enough. Relax. Sorry, my boyfriend was calling me, but I don't even know where I was at. Oh, I was telling you guys how resting between contractions is very important. You want to rest as much as possible. It just makes a big difference. It just makes a big difference. Let's just say that. Anyways, it was like 6:37. Me and my boyfriend were downstairs, and he was just like, let's just lay down and try to nap. So for some reason, I wanted to lay on the floor. So I'm like, let's just lay down here. So we laid on the floor. He's asleep. I'm you know, in and out of sleep. At one point, it got so intense, I had to get up, and I had him bring the ball down there just in case. So I had the ball down there. I started bouncing on it, and the contractions were coming back to back to back. And like I said, it's around 6:37, but I'm just getting through it, just getting through each one, bouncing on the ball, just getting my mind right. Like I said, getting my mind right, keeping it right. So an hour went by, an hour and a half went by. It was like 8 o'clock. I went upstairs. I told him I'm gonna just go upstairs and get in the bath. And he's like, okay. Mind you, I took like 10 baths that day. I'm not even gonna lie. I took like 10 baths. They were relaxing me. It was the only thing that I could think about doing. Like, it was just the only thing that I knew it was just relaxing. So I went and got in the bath, and I'm like sitting in there, and it got to a point to where like I just couldn't. I just knew like this baby is coming, because I was sitting in the bath and I had like the urge to push. And I swear I should have recorded this part, but I just literally start crying, and I called my boyfriend like, I think I need to go because I feel like I have to push. And I was like, I just don't know anymore. Like, it was just a long day. I was starting to get emotional. You know, I was uncomfortable, not in pain, but uncomfortable all day, since 3 a.m. So I call my midwife, and it's like 9 o'clock now. So I call my midwife, and I'm like, she hears me like trying to get through a contraction. She's like, okay, like just coaching me through it. Get through this one. And I was like, I think I need to come in because I can't breathe anymore. Like I could not breathe or talk through the contractions anymore. So I'm like, I think I need to come in, like, it's getting like to where I want to push. She was like, okay. And I had to like warn her because she was like 20 minutes out. So she was like, okay, meet me in an hour at the birth center. But it ended up just being like 20 minutes somewhere. Someone was going to be there before her. So I'm like, all right. So I had all my bags packed. I was prepared. Make sure you have your bags packed. That's very important. So my boyfriend was getting all the bags in the car, and he had to get me dressed because I literally felt like I was gonna drop to my knees when I would have a contraction at this point, because it was, you know, they were so close and so intense now. So he got me dressed, and we're walking downstairs. I'm trying to get downstairs. I'm moving slow. He's trying to get me downstairs. He had to make sure the dog was walked and all this stuff. And it was just like this. Like it happened just like this. We had to go. So I get in the back seat of the car. I'm like holding myself up by the, what are them things in the car to where you hold on them? I don't know what they're called, but I'm holding myself up in the car like, oh my God. And I'm just like, you know, like getting through the contraction, but like moaning and groaning. If you see my labor and delivery, at first I was just moaning and groaning. That's what it was like in the car. And my boyfriend said in his head he wasn't stopping at any red lights. He had to get me there, because once I said it feels like I have to push, he was no longer playing no games. He had to get me there. But anyway, we got there pretty quickly. Luckily he didn't have to run any red lights, they were all green. But the birth center was like 10 minutes away, so we got there pretty quickly. And he's trying to get me into the birth center, and I'm just like, oh, I can't. And I would just kept saying I can't, like I don't know. Like in my head, like I told you guys, I was getting my mind right. I didn't want any negative thoughts or feeling like I can't. And then he did make one remark. This is something I forgot to mention. He did make one remark, like, what if you get there and they tell you you're not dilated to where you need to be? And I was like, we're going to the hospital and I'm getting epidural. But that's my mindset, because in the middle of that, that's why you need, make sure your spouse, your significant other, whoever is aligned with your birth plan, like what you want, let them know, so they could, you know, coach you through that, or encourage you, like this is what you want. Like I feel like that's very important, because if it wasn't for him telling me I can do it and I got it, and just being my coach through the whole process, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. I literally probably wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, we got there and I got checked. This was the only time I got checked. I didn't go and get checked multiple times or anything like that. So that whole day I didn't know if I was dilated or anything. Since I was going to the birth center, I was doing a natural birth and they do things a little bit different. They didn't check me until I got there. So once I got there and she checked me, she's like, you're fully dilated. I'm like, I knew it. Like I just knew, like I knew I was ready to push. As you guys, if you guys haven't seen, please go watch it. But I got in the tub first, and I was just in there kind of like just getting through the contractions still, really. And then they had said, if you need to push, it's okay to push. And I'm like, I don't know how to push. Like, I didn't know, because I've never experienced this before. How do I push? What do I do? A lot of people say, you know, it's like pooping, but like I still didn't know, and I was scared. I'm like, I don't know how to push. I really don't know how. And she was like, there was another nurse in there. Once she came in, she kept telling me, you know, give the energy to my bottom and not so much up here, because I was just like, oh, and making all these noises and just, I just didn't know. I just wasn't in the right state of mind, and I just lost everything. Like, I lost focus on what I was doing, my breathing, all of that. At one point I was like, I can't breathe. But no, she helped me, and she was just like, push through your bottom. She's like, give that energy to your bottom. So me pushing and screaming was not helping. So once I held my breath in and just pushed, no noise, that's when I noticed I started to progress a lot more. And in the tub, I felt like I wasn't progressing, but my water broke in the tub. You know, a lot of stuff was just coming out. I could tell that, you know, I was making my mucus plug, the rest of my mucus plug came out. All of that came out in the tub. But at one point I was just like, okay, I'm done with the tub. I didn't want to be in there anymore. So I went to the toilet, which I didn't show you guys, but I went to the toilet, sat backwards on the toilet. They had a pillow in the back. I was just laying on the toilet pushing. Lindell kind of squeezed my hips a little bit, and that relieved a lot of pressure. I really liked that double hip squeeze. But I stayed on the toilet for like 5 minutes, and then I was like, no, I can't, this position wasn't comfortable. So then I got on the bed and got on my side and had the peanut ball in between my legs, and that gave me a lot of like relief, having my legs separated like that and taking those breaks in between me pushing and resting on the peanut ball was so much relief. Everyone's asking how did I give birth on my side, but it was literally the best position personally to me. And in between those contractions, I was really taking advantage of that, like I said, and just laying there, and they had cold towels on me, and I was just laying there, just preparing for the next one, just getting through it, breathing, and then having Lindell's hand there to squeeze really helped me. You guys could see I was kind of hanging off the bed, but I was like leaning into him when I was pushing, like bearing down into him since I was on my side. That's what I was doing, leaning into him and just pushing through. But yeah, and then after that, after I had the baby, like my experience was good. The nurses were good. They helped me, the midwives, they helped me with my breathing, helped me with pushing, was encouraging me the whole time, telling me I'm doing good. Lindell was really great during the whole process. He really did help me, encouraging me. And then like once he seen the baby's head, he was like, it's crunch time, it's crunch time. I'm like, whoo, like that helped me. Like him telling me that, I'm like, okay, all right, so he's about to come, he's about to be here. So they were telling me to take breaks in between, and towards the end you could hear me saying no, because they were telling me, okay, now take a rest. And I'm like, no, like I want him out. Like y'all can see him, he's coming out, I'm getting him out. So I like literally bared down and just squeezed and got through it. The worst part about the pushing him out was the ring of fire. Once his head is coming through and you're stretching, that was the worst part of pushing. Like literally pushing wasn't the worst part, it was the contractions before, like the laboring at home. That was the worst part to me, and the ring of fire obviously, but that was literally quick and he was out. So it's not as bad as you think. Natural birth is not as bad as you think. You just have to have that mindset to get through it. You just have to literally prepare your mind to get through it. Whatever you want, you can do. Our bodies are made for this, and it is temporary pain. People kept telling me that. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like, yeah, whatever. But literally, it's temporary pain. Like, you just take it one step at a time. You have to have the mental toughness to get yourself through it, and your significant other is a plus to help you get through it. So but anyways, after that, I pushed my placenta out, and then something was still attached inside. They could see it, and I was starting to bleed a little bit more than normal. So they gave me a shot of Pitocin in my leg. They gave me a shot of something else once I got to the hospital, but I think the Pitocin was to like regulate the blood, I don't know. But they gave me that, and They said I had a prolapse. What was it? I'm gonna look in my phone to see what it was. They said I had a retained membrane and a cervical prolapse. So whatever that is, Google it if you don't know, because I don't. But I had to be transferred to the hospital, so they called the paramedics. They got there kind of quickly, and then I was carried out. One thing that was really bothersome to me is I only got to do skin to skin for like 5 to 10 minutes before the ambulance got there, and they wouldn't let my baby come in the ambulance with me. And the paramedic made a comment like, that's not important. Once my midwife said, you know, the baby needs the skin to skin, you know, like, it's not like we're bringing a whole car seat and stuff. He would just be on my chest. And they're like, that's not important. And I'm just like, obviously I was like kind of out of, like, not out of it, but like, I just wanted to get whatever was wrong with me fixed, because I was getting a little nervous. I felt the blood coming out of me, especially when they were carrying me down the steps. But anyway, so they didn't let him come, and once he got to the hospital, he had to go in the nursery because he was breathing super fast and his temperature was low, like he was really cold from him not being on my freaking chest, like from us not getting the skin to skin. And that like started to kind of worry me, but I was literally in the middle of getting stitched up. But I had to get stitched. I had a 2nd-degree tear, and she ended up going inside of me and literally pulling whatever that was out. She just had to go inside to do that. So I guess they didn't want to do that at the birth center because they don't have all of the tools and things that the hospital does have. But so yeah, she got that out. She said my cervix looked fine, it wasn't low or anything like that, but she stitched me up. They like numbed me, it was like a pinch, stitched me up. So yeah, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was when I was at the birth center. Another thing they don't tell you about is after birth, postpartum, after birth, literally is the worst. It felt like I was giving birth again. So since they weren't able to press on my stomach at the birth center and stuff because of whatever was going on down there, or they thought was going on down there, they were so aggressive at the hospital with pushing my stomach. They had to make sure everything was out. So they were pushing, she was pushing my stomach in. I grabbed her up. Her shirt was up like this. I grabbed that nurse up while she was pushing on my stomach. She had to do it 3 times. It was the worst pain ever. The worst. Bumped the birth. That all went away after. I felt so much relief after he came out. Literally, I felt so much relief after he came out, and it was like nothing happened. But this, when she was pushing on my stomach, no ma'am, no. That was the worst ever, the worst pain I have felt, I'm not gonna lie. And then I just felt stuff gushing out of me, like literally. And then they had to push on my stomach when I went up to my room, but it was very, very gentle. But yes, after birth is the worst when they're well, it was the worst for me, sorry. I won't say it's the worst for everyone, but it was the worst for me. And then with breastfeeding and stuff, cramps, like intense cramps again, because my uterus is contracting and things like that. So I'll say like it was the laboring at home, the ring of fire, and then no, I'll put the afterbirth. The afterbirth was the worst. When they were pressing on my stomach, that's number 1. The laboring at home, and then the ring of fire, which is pretty quickly. But yeah, that's literally my labor and delivery story. Like I said, taking it one step at a time, staying confident in what you want for your birth plan. Literally, that's very important. Like, stick to what you want and prepare yourself for that. So that is my labor and delivery story. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload. I'm gonna start uploading my journey as a new mother. You'll see a lot of what goes on in my days with a newborn. So yes, I would love you guys to be a part of the family, so don't forget to subscribe. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and thank you guys for watching.